Mondays with Mikey and Murf. We talking Raiders and football dirt. Cause we are a back talk show. We're gonna have some season preview. Good times, let's go. It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Oh no, here we go again. Episode 40, my friend. We were gone for a good old time, but we're back here and we're gonna lay it on the line. Raiders inaugural season is gonna have fans in the stands, and we're gonna be pleasing and yelling, and everybody knows that we're gonna start gelling. Raiders, it's Mondays in Mikey and Murf. The rap ain't so good, but we're talking Raiders and football dirt. It's been a while. We're having good times. Let's go. He's my boy Murf, and we're ready to do a good show. It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Oh goodness. I haven't done that rap in a while, Murf. You can tell. I wasn't on my Kanye West or Drake game today.
Preseason form, Mikey. You're in preseason form.
I know, but the Raiders are in the regular season, and I'm in preseason form. But hey, we all got a couple of days.
You'll get it back, brother. I have no doubt.
Guess what, guys? It's been a year hiatus for Mondays with Mikey and Murf. And that's to no fault but mine. But I'm not going to talk about it because we're not here to go into all the drama. We're here to have a Monday with Mikey and Murf.
Let's
Season
go.
Spectacular for our Raiders.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Are you excited, Murf? We got Monday Night Football, baby.
Absolutely, Mikey. I'm so stoked, dude. I'm so excited to be here, man. Thank you for putting this back together for us. This is always one of the highlights of my week, doing Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Of course, Mondays with Mikey and Murf here on a Tuesday. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world of the Raiders. So much news to get to, so many topics. And yeah, man, Monday Night Football coming up. You know, prime time against the Ravens, against one of the premier players in the league, in Lamar Jackson. Like, this is a good time to be a fan. It's I'm excited, man. I'm fired up, dude. I can't wait to get going with the season and to be reconnected with you here on Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Season 3 now of Mondays with Mikey and Murf.
Yeah, last season had like 3 episodes.
Hey, man, no one's counting.
It's okay. We're back. We're like a Netflix special. They finally got the money, and they gave us our budget per episode, and it's like $25. So, we're doing all right.
That's right. They got us right.
The only reason I'm back, though, is because you called me, inspired me, and you said you wanted your friend back last night. So you pushed me to the limit. You made me walk along the Rager's edge. You pushed me to the limit, and it inspired me, and I'm back. All right, Murf, let everybody know who you are, what else you do on the side, because you definitely have to do side work. We're not going live every week this year. We're maybe every 2-3 weeks. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
Yeah, so you can find me on the social media there, mostly the Twitters @_Murf, but my show, which is Raiders Fan Radio, is all over everywhere. You can find it all over the YouTubes. You can find it on any of your favorite podcast services. That's where you'll find an audio version of this show to go along with, of course, our flagship show, which is Raiders Fan Radio. We also host a show called Flashback, which is hosted by the author of the Raiders Encyclopedia. His name is Rich Schmelter, and he takes a different journey through Raider history every week. It's a very a short podcast, usually about 8 to 12 minutes. It's a good time. So definitely support us there and in that way. And Mikey, just as of the last week or so, we've been named the official Raiders podcast for Fansided. And so we have entered into a partnership with those folks and Just Blog Baby. And so we're real thankful for that new partnership with those folks. And so many thanks to them for seeking us out and signing Little Old Raiders Fan Radio, the little weekly show that we do from my bonus room, and putting us out there. And the response has been phenomenal. So thank you to those folks. And then the one last thing, please, if you'll indulge me, any of the money that we raise with our show, anything that comes from advertising, merchandise sales, direct donations, all that stuff, we give 100% of that money away to a foundation that I formed with Raider Cody a little over a year ago. It's called the One Nation Foundation. So just know this, that anything you do to support Raiders Fan Radio, you're supporting the foundation, which gives all of its funds away to Raiders-related charities. So anything you do to help us goes to help the greater Raider Nation community. So thank you for all your support.
so proud of you and everything you're doing, and keep holding it down on the YouTube for me, because I had to disappear. The man got me.
Keeping your seat warm, brother. I'm keeping your seat warm. You're the one that got us on the YouTube to begin with. So for those of you who never heard the story, like we were always an audio only podcast. And in doing this show, and Mikey and I became great friends on and off the air. And he was like, dude, you need to do your show on YouTube. You need to go live. And I'm like, yeah, I got a face made for radio. Like, I'm not going to do that. And he goes, no, bro. He's like, everybody is there. You need to do it. You need to have video. And so anyway, so we started doing it, and it's, 3,500 subscribers later. It's been awesome. So what, do you got a bug attacking you there?
It's like a Lamar Jackson. It's kind of annoying me. I don't know what it is. It's like a little bug. It's a little J.K. Dobbins. Yeah. It's a little Gus Edwards or something.
There you go. Yeah.
But again, thank you for holding it down on YouTube. All you Raider Nation vloggers, video makers, I'm very, very proud of you all. I am on Twitch now, Raider Central Live, and also you can search YouTube for Raider Central Live, and maybe you'll find me and a hidden channel and some other stuff in the future. But for now, no more worries. You guys are getting the video probably on Murph's channel or maybe on one of mine, but we're back and we're going to do this for a little while, and let's get it started. I'm just ready. Let's get it started.
Let's go, brother. Let's go.
Are you ready, Murph?
I'm ready, brother. I'm fired up, dude. Let's do it.
Murph, what's my my little quote that I always do before we change the set and the location?
Well, you talk about the rent, Mikey.
I can't remember the quote. It's been so long. I was asking you to tell it for me, Murph.
What did you say?
Are you ready for the headlines?
Breadlines and breadlines. That's
Murph,
what it is. Yeah.
I do not like paying rent because now the dang COVID stimulus they took off. Now I have to start paying rent again, or I get kicked out.
Oh my God!
And I got to pay back all the rent money.
It's unbelievable that both of us forgot. That's how long we've done a show.
It's been almost. I think it's been actually 1 year to date. I kid you not. I think it was last year on the 7th of September.
Wow. Well, glad to fire back up again tonight. So there you go. You got to pay your rent.
Wearing my Wanna shirt. Let's do it.
Let's go.
I don't want to mess up anymore. I don't want to mess up. All right. Are you ready for the headlines, breadlines, deadlines, Murph?
Mikey, you don't pay the rent?
I actually do.
I know you do, but
I've been very blessed to be able to.
You know what I meant.
All right, let's move on. All right, let's get into the headlines, the deadlines. What do you call them? The hot takes.
Hot takes.
These are the hot takes.
Fire.
Yeah.
Where you get all the fire. We're like Stephen A. Smith and Michael Irvin over here. We're just going to just spew hot takes at you.
Well, since we haven't been online in a year since we did the 2020 season spectacular, where we did bold predictions and other stuff, and I just wanted to let you know that, remember, you did not agree with me that Nelson Aguilar was going to be the best wide receiver.
Wow. I need that one out. There you go.
I need my kudos.
Yeah, great job, Mikey. You nailed it picking Nelson Aguilar.
Thank you very much. I am the genius. I am the guru.
You absolutely are.
I know I am. All right, give me your 2020 Raiders quick review from last season. Just, what you thought about it overall, and, just something simple to talk about, because we didn't talk about it any shows last year.
Like every other Raider fan, highly disappointed that we didn't make the playoffs. And I think last year as a whole, just the whole world was just so different and odd. And the Raiders season felt that same way. I mean, so, you started off with a game like we did against the Saints, where it looks like we're world beaters. We have this, amazing showing, first ever game in Allegiant Stadium. It's like, the emotion was riding high, and then get to we were 6-3 before the wheels started to come off. And, there was a lot to lock into and love about the Raiders that wasn't on the, defensive side of the football, because that's ultimately what cost us. And so, we got to this, like we felt like we were on the rise, and then the rug got pulled out from underneath us. And, I've often used the term I've thanked the Raiders for relieving me of the burden of expectation, where I just get to enjoy a Sunday and just watch a game and not have to worry about, the consequence of it, whether they were going to make the playoffs or whatever. And that's kind of what they did, but they did it so late, from Arden Key ripping Ryan Fitzpatrick's head off to lose the game in Miami, or just, just the way that the season ended. It was just brutal, man. And so, so it was rough, but it was rough. The world was rough last year. So I think as a Raider fan, it was just another thing, to just kind of chalk up. I will say this, and this is what I think is going to be interesting, transitioning from 2020 into 2021, being that there was no one in Allegiant Stadium. And I thought it was probably favorable for the Raiders. And I say that to say this, that look, and I don't want to turn this into a Derek Carr thing, but I think there's a fair point to be considered that he hears, and so do many other players, the boos and the nachos getting thrown on the field and whatever else, all the different things that can happen during the course of a game when the team isn't playing well, especially if they're not playing well early. I think that relieved the Raiders on the field of a lot of pressure because, look, you took the Raiders out of Oakland, but you didn't take the Raider Nation out of the Raiders. And if we show up and he starts throwing picks against, the Dolphins, in the second game this year at home, what's going to happen? The place is going to start booing. They're going to make a big stink about that. Again, I'm not trying to pick on Derek particularly, but like anything that goes on bad early is not going to go well. And so I think that the Raiders avoided that idea because there was so many things last year, like when they played great on the road, but they kind of sucked at home other than like that Saints game. And so I think there's a lot to be said for that like I hate to say, because the season ended so badly anyways, but like they might have done better than like maybe what they would have if there would have been a crowd there. I don't know. That's just we'll see how that plays out. But I think it's just a fair point to at least consider as we went from 2020 into 2021. So there we go. That's kind of my piece.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. But I wish there was fans in there. Again, that was the biggest problem for me was, the world becoming a whole new thing. What's the saying that they say?
The new normal.
The new normal. Yeah, I kept hearing that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Raiders had to open up like the inaugural season without fans, and like that is just a travesty. That is a travesty, to say the least. And I think the Raiders would have won more down the stretch if they had fans, because it became so simple to go through the motions at home during the season with no fans. It's like it might feel like another training camp day. You have to hear you don't get no loud music.
Right.
All you hear is number 24 with a 5-yard rush, or something like that, and it doesn't feel like it. So they couldn't get the passion down the stretch when you're injured, you're tired, you've played already 10 games, whatever the situation is. I think the fans could have lifted the Raiders' spirits, and I think they would have won a few more games. I wouldn't have said they were automatically a playoff team, but I feel they could have at least won 9 to 10 games with that extra addition of the fans. So that being said, it was a good season. I mean, we at least improved under Gruden. I don't know how much, but for many years now, Raider fans knew the defense was a problem, even going into last season with Gunther. A lot of us thought he should have been fired before the season began, but it didn't happen, and they were too late on the punches. So that being said, I'm just tired of our second half finishes in the league. 2 years in a row, we finished really bad. And that's a credit not only to the players that are losing faith, that's the staff. That's the coaches needing to shake things up and get them out of that funk. So I have a little bit of problem with the staff and Gruden and Mayock and some of their decisions. And our draft picks, they didn't do much last year either. The draft picks that we had. Again, so it feels like another wasted draft year for cynical Raider fans like me. It feels like another draft year. But we got a new season coming up. And that's my little quick review. It didn't end the way I wanted. It was okay. It was 8-8. It was like blah, 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 blah. But we got inspiration going into this year. And now let's talk about some, let me see if I got a graphic that I could change. Let's talk about this year's draft class. We're going to bring it up to this year. Did you like all the picks? Because, again, we didn't talk about this on any of the shows.
Yeah, I think this is an absolute home run for at least the way it looks now. And, we'll know how good the draft was in about 3 years, and so that's where, I refuse to be hyperly critical of the Mayock era, which is a very popular thing to do on Twitter. Go figure. People are outraged. But you know what I mean? Like, you go on there and it's, people right and left taking shots at the Raiders and Mike Mayock and for their drafts. But I don't think you can fairly evaluate it till you get a few years out. So anyways, that said, this draft class, looks to be lights out, man. I think Trayvon Merrick is going to be the absolute steal of the draft for the Raiders. Maybe even for I don't want to say the entirety of the league, but it's certainly going to be up there. And then, the way that Nate Hobbs is playing and, we've seen Malcolm Kuntz do a little bit of something. The Leatherwood pick was kind of mocked at early on until the Raiders got Merrick in the second round. I think that if you flip-flop those picks to 1 and 2 to 2 to 1, I don't think anybody has any kind of criticism available at all. And if anything, Mayock and Gruden have proved that, they have their board, they have their guys. They don't care what Mel Kiper and Todd McShay and Daniel Jeremiah and everybody else thinks, and nor should they. So, look, they got their guys. And again, this one was looking to be really good. And, and I'll just say one last little bit too. Look, even if you get, 2 or 3 players out of a draft, that's a success, man. Everyone wants to compare and all that. And listen, I'm not going to say that the Raiders don't need to draft any better. Of course I want them to. Of course I want to see them hit home runs and see, Max Crosby's and Trayvon Mullins. And I want to see those types of home runs. But it's like, if you roll back the clock, it's not like Reggie McKenzie was hitting home runs. He did once when he got Khalil Mack, Derek Carr, and Gabe Jackson. He got 1 home run out of that. You know what I mean? You didn't, when Amari Cooper split, people weren't freaking out being like, oh, the stupid Raiders. No, they made a choice to move on from a player and to not bring him in on a second contract. They made a business decision, and that's what the Raiders have been doing.
They're under the microscope, though, a lot now, even more with Gruden and Mayock.
Absolutely, and I think that here's what I always say about criticism, Mikey, is that anybody that's willing to be critical, whether it's online or on a show like this or to whatever, you're always going to be proven right. What's hard is to look for things that are going to be positive, because only one team wins the Super Bowl. Very few, most draft picks are whiffs. The majority of drafts don't go well for a team. So on the occasion that you nail one, that's the rarity. So it's easy to be critical because most of the time everyone's right. That's why everybody bitches and there's so much damn negativity online, because everyone wants to be right. No one's willing to take a shot to be wrong.
That sounds like the Tanner Muse being cut. I think I saw a lot of negative feedback about Tanner Muse being cut, third-round pick.
Yeah, well, here's to me is what's silly about that, and I'll give you a good example, okay? So the Raiders bring in Tanner Muse. They try to convert him from safety to linebacker. They bulk him up, whatever. They obviously saw something in him that wasn't going to equate for what they wanted. They knew they had KJ Wright in the wings. They knew they were going to sign him. The only reason he didn't sign earlier was because he avoided training camp. He signs the week before the season starts so he can get the veteran guarantees by a contract. That was probably the plan all along. But guess what, Raider fan on Twitter? You didn't know that. So it shocks you and you freak out, but the Raiders are doing exactly what the Raiders had been planning to do all along. So there's not only that to be considered, but also, did anybody remember the 2020 draft when New England took 2 tight ends in the 3rd round? Anybody can name those 2 tight ends? No, you can't, because Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry are going to be your starting tight ends for the New England Patriots. No one is bitching because of a couple different things. The Patriots got better at the position, and that's the ultimate goal, just like the Raiders got better at the position of linebacker. And also, Bill Belichick's got 7 goddamn rings, so he could give half a shit what your Twitter opinion is. But so my point is that let John Gruden take his run to win his rings. Don't criticize him before we know the outcome. I think it's a completely silly thing, and it drives me nuts about Raider Twitter. All we do is eat each other. Everybody just fights about how slow of a news day is it that we're fighting about a 3rd round linebacker getting cut? Give me a break.
Yeah, But yeah, again, I'm gonna call myself cynical Raider for a while. But you go back to the Lynn Bowden trade, and it just.
Oh yeah, that guy that's not on Miami's roster anymore.
Yeah, you're probably right. I haven't looked into that, but some of these
I think
things.
He's on IR or something.
We're fans, so we scratch our head at some of the decisions when we're cynical. But I believe me, I completely agree. I understand. I'm just tired of losing. I think I wrote this on Twitter.
That's where we all agree.
Yeah, I wrote it the other day. I just had a thought. I'm like, I'm cynical in my old age now. I've been waiting for the Raiders to win. I'm afraid that I'm going to die soon and they're never going to get to a Super Bowl. So every decision that I see that doesn't work out, I feel like it's a mistake, and I'm getting mad, and that's what sucks about getting older in life. It's like the promise of a Super Bowl in the future. I don't see it yet so far, so I'm getting scared I'm going to die before then. So,
well, you're not going to die before then, but I will say this. I totally agree with you, and that's ultimately what needs to happen. And this is where I do hold the Raiders highly accountable for the season. Like the idea of what they're doing with personnel and all that stuff. I think people get a little arrogant in their zealousness to criticize. But what we can fully all agree on is that we have to make the playoffs. The team has to be decidedly better this year. And that's where the Raiders need to hold themselves to a high level of accountability, which I hope they do. The nightmare scenario for us this season, Mikey, is 10-7, narrowly missed the playoffs. And the narrative from the Raiders going into the offseason is, well, we improved again under John Gruden.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really. Did you at 10-7 and didn't make a play? That scares the shit out of me. That I don't think is going to, I'm saying shit a lot tonight. I'm sorry. But that scares me. That is one that, because couldn't you just see that? Wouldn't that be the most Raidery thing to happen, is that we actually put in a decent record? If it were a 10-6 season back when we had 16 games, might have been a playoff spot. But now that they've added the extra game, we'll lose it and miss the freaking playoffs. That would, ugh. So anyways, we got to make the damn playoffs. That is an absolute must. I'm going to say one more thing and I'm going to shut up. I get fired up about this stuff, man. It's good to be back, Mikey. I've been getting my co-host, Uncle Mosh. I have two co-hosts, Swag Jeff and Uncle Mosh. And my Uncle Mosh makes fun of me for saying this, but I believe it's the absolute truth. I think this is the most important season in the modern day history of the Raiders. In this era of the Raiders, I think this is the most important season. I think you got legacies on the line. You got legacies on the line for Mayock, for Gruden, for Carr, Mark freaking Davis. There's a lot of legacy items that are going on here. You're talking about Gruden as a 500 football coach with 2 blips on the radar. This is going to define who he's a great personality. I love him. I'm a fan. I support him. I'm glad he's got the job, all that stuff. But now's the time, 4 years in, we got to have some results here, man. Let's go. Now is the time. I'm telling you, for this era in the first season in Vegas in front of fans. And you think about all the consequence of everything that's going on. Derek's 30 years old. Derek ain't no spring chicken, man. Let's change the narrative for the oldest quarterback not named Ryan Fitzpatrick to have not started in a playoff game. We know that it was because you got hurt, but still, that point is not wrong, and people won't shut up about it until we make the goddamn playoffs. So I think it's very, very important for the team to get there this year. Okay, now I'm done.
I was just going to say, let's try to hold some of that for the State of the Raiders coming up in a minute. We're still kind of doing the off-season moves, but no, I love that hot take. And I just wanted to say real quickly, I thought it was an insult to Tanner Muse that he was cut, and the dang public relations posted out a happy birthday tweet 4 or 5 hours after he got cut. I don't know, but that was in a little bit of distaste, and wow, that really bothered me. Apparently, they don't even know what John Gruden, the Raiders staff don't even know what the team is doing to make these decisions. That means they're not even on the same page, and that bothered me a little bit. If you're gonna win a Super Bowl, you got to get on the same page. I don't care if you're public relations. I don't care if you're press. You got to know when a player is cut, who was signed. You got to know what to post on Twitter. That's called a Super Bowl team, in my opinion. You get all on the same page. That pissed me off. We don't have to go into detail, but your thoughts on Carl Nassib coming out as the first active player that's gay in the NFL?
Yeah, something like that was inevitable in the NFL, and respect to him for, having the guts to do that. That's the NFL, and the NFL locker room is one of the more, testosterone driven places. And, where, it's all about, a certain, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to be kind in the way I deliver this. There's a certain, not a stereotype, but like a role, you know what I mean? And the
just
idea that someone is,
just say you love him like Derek Carr did.
Well, exactly. And that's the thing, but the masculinity and the thing where and Carl being gay isn't necessarily associated, or someone that's gay isn't associated with masculinity and like tough guy. Rah, rah, rah. And so to have that,
anymore.
that was, well, okay. And you're good. And I'm glad you're saying that, because I think that it was just going to be a matter of time. And I'm glad that he did. And you know what, and here's the thing, man, the Raiders are not strangers to doing things first when it comes to, social movements, when it comes to, all those types of things, everything, from the legacy of the man shirt that I'm wearing right now of Tom Flores to, you know what I mean, to all the African-American players that were drafted out of the small schools by Al Davis, all the barriers that got broken by Al Davis, this is just another one of those. So of course it will be the Raiders that have a player do this for the first time ever. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with it at all. But the only thing is, there are some theories out there, because Nassib was benched a couple of times last year, that he might have been a training camp cut, this season. And if he is a money man or a businessman, it is a smart decision right before the season starts to come out and say his truth, because then, public relations wise, if he was on the brink, they probably can't cut him now because the whole world is watching. So he might have made himself $4 to $5 million to be on the roster just by coming out as I'll say it, gay. I hope I don't get censored.
I don't think so. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's what he refers to himself as. So I think.
No, I meant through channels or whatever. That's just other stuff. But yeah, there's a theory out there, that might have been the case.
I always look
double move.
I always question everybody, and it's and when it comes to money. So I'm with you. The NFL, there's no better example in our country than an organization that you want to know why they do things. Will just follow the almighty dollar. And so I'm with you. I'm skeptical on that kind of stuff too, about when people make decisions around these kinds of things. I'm going to trust that that's not what he was trying to do. But I'm with you though, that that's
his agent is like, hey, you're going to be cut. Trust me.
My brain starts to go there too. I'm with you, bud.
And then this is the last question about that situation. How much pressure does it add to this Raiders team to honestly showcase him? In the woke world that we have today, people are going to want to watch him play. And whether he truly is a starter or not, this adds a lot of pressure to the team to probably showcase him, at least on the Monday night game a little bit, because they're going to want that storyline of Monday Night Football, the first gay player in the NFL. They're going to want to see him on the field. And then the other players on the team, do you think it adds pressure to them now that the cameras are on them and they're going to have to talk about it probably 4 to 10 times this season? Just what are your thoughts on all that?
I think if anything, it was probably a little strategic that they did it when they did it, when the NFL news cycle is at its slowest. I disagree with you. I don't think it's going to be a big showcasey kind of thing. And I think that would frankly be a disservice to the whole point. And you know what I mean? If they treat him like he's, a unicorn and they're like, oh, everybody look at Carl. I think that's, I think that's overswinging it a little bit. And so I don't think that's the case. And as far as the Raiders playing him more, no, I don't agree with that one single bit. I don't think that John Gruden or anybody else that's in that organization that's responsible for W's gives a crap about what this man does when he's not on the Raider clock. All they care about is how good of a football player he is. And that's all they should care about. And that's the only thing, for the same reasons. I don't want them to consider what he is, just like I don't want any human being ever, let alone on a football field, to be considered for anything that has anything to do other than their personality and their ability to do what they're supposed to be doing. And then
if he doesn't play, You know, there's about 10 reporters that are going to start asking Gruden.
And nobody. No,
I'm
you'll
afraid
see
he's going
that.
to get compared to Michael Sam so much. I'm so afraid of that.
Michael Sam was a terrible football player. I don't think he's going to get compared to Michael Sam at all.
Well, Tanner Muse has been on like 3 different teams in the past 2 years, and he was possibly, again, the theory is he was going to be cut. So I don't know how good of a player Nassib is, honestly, as well.
Yeah, he's okay. I don't think he's as good as what we paid him. I think that was a bad contract. You know what I mean? I don't think that he's that as good of a player as what that money equals, but I'm not, it's not up to me to measure a man's money. So, but I don't agree. I think that Twitter might be like, oh, the Raiders benched now. There might be somebody out there trying to stir something up on a social media. But I don't think you think like Jerry McDonald or Tashawn Reed or any of these guys are going to be sitting in the press conference going like, hey, did you not play Yeah, or Vic, Vic Tafer's going to go in there and go, hey, I noticed you didn't play Nassib. Is that because he's gay? Like, no, they're not going to do that.
I'm telling you, somebody from the woke Twitter or the woke reporters is going to ask that question.
Some dopey person on Twitter might, but nobody that's professional will do that.
I know. Yeah, you know how it is. All right, good takes. Real quick, your thoughts on the cuts of John Brown and Carl Joseph?
Yeah, so I think that a couple things. I think that John Brown came in with the idea that he was going to be a fourth or a fifth, or excuse me, come in and thought he was going to be a second or a third, found out he was going to be a fourth or a fifth, and asked for his damn release. And fine, because that was what the role the Raiders had for him. The 2 rookies were going to, or the 2 second-year guys are going to be our starters at wide receiver. So it just wasn't a lot.
Where'd the misinformation come from? Again, if he expects to be a second or a third, and he's
why do we have to assign it to misinformation? Why should it not be looked at like, look, you can come in and compete, and he thought he was going to come in and compete at a level that would displace somebody like Hunter Renfrow, and he didn't. And the Raiders stuck with their guys that they already have, and they did him a solid. He asked for his release, and they freaking cut him loose. So here's the difference. I think that when we see cuts like that, and then it go along with Carl Joseph as well, who saw a lot of playing time in the preseason, the Raiders are cutting players now that are pretty good. That's a good thing. Like, remember before we would cut players and be like, oh, thank God, that guy sucked. You know what I mean? Like, now you got guys that are serviceable, veterans in the league, depth guys that we don't really have a necessity for anymore. We don't have to start Jeff Heath anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we're climbing up the ladder in terms of talent at each roster spot. A term I used to say all the time was the Raiders used to run out of talent. People will be like, what does that mean? I'll be like, they just ran out of talent. You got like talent at whatever positions, but it doesn't go deep at all. There was no depth in the line. There was no depth at wide receiver. There was no depth at safety. There was no depth at cornerback. Well, now we have depth all around. So you see guys now that are getting cut that are pretty capable players. There's a reason that Will Compton hasn't signed yet with the Raiders.
I want to let you know that I just downloaded the audio of the phone call from Gruden giving misinformation to John Brown. Let me play it for you.
Okay, do it.
Gruden calls up John Brown. What's going on, brother? My Gruden accent's going to be really, really bad, trust me. Hey, John Brown, Smokey Brown, Buffalo Bill Brown, MVP, Pro Bowler. It's John freaking Gruden. How you doing? It's Chucky, baby. Check it out. We got an open roster spot. We got some young players at wide receiver, and, I'm doubting them. We need a veteran. We need a veteran like you. Come in here and show them what's up. Be a number one, baby. Be a number one. We need John Smokey Brown to be a Raider. We need a Raider that's brown. That's called Smokey Brown. This is bad, I know, but I guarantee you John Gruden called him up and gave him a phone call like that, and John Brown's like, all right, let's go. I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to make some money. We're going to go to Shin City. We're going to call it Win City, and we're going to win a lot of games. Then he goes, oh, you choosing that guy over me? You're choosing Brian Edwards over me? I want to be released. And then John Gruden's like, come on, man. You're talking like Khalil Mack did a couple years ago. Come on, man. What's going on, man? Brother. All right, my accent's real bad. All right. Moving along.
There you go, Mikey.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just trying to add a little comedy to the show. But I'm in preseason form, as we talked about earlier.
It's okay. You'll get there. No, I think that, they had other players showed up, man. And they look at, I don't think he sold them a bill of goods, but, when you got guys like Zay Jones, you got guys like Willie Snead, you got these other guys that are coming in and playing pretty well. And again, your top three guys are Edwards, Ruggs, and Renfro. So
Okay,
Brown was like, I'm serious. Like, where was he going to fit in? Like, at some point, we need these young guys to step up, and we'll see. We'll wait till we get to breakout players. But yeah, like the Raiders talk about draft picks needing to show up. Well, there's two of them right there, Ruggs and Edwards. They need to be playmakers for us.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't care what happened on training camp. I know Zay Jones looked decent this year, but he does in every preseason. Zay Jones should have been cut, in my opinion. I'm not the coach, and John Brown hopefully should have still been on the roster, but that's neither here nor there. What do you think of the signing of KJ Wright a couple of days ago?
Absolutely love it. As I mentioned earlier, the reason that he waited to when he did was to pull that vet move, miss the entirety of training camp, catch that veteran minimum still, that veteran guarantee on his contract. I think that there was a very smart play. And yeah, I mean, this is just another case of players wanting to come in and be part of what Gus Bradley does. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is another connection back to Gus Bradley in his Seattle days and the Legion of Boom. And I love it, man. KJ Wright is a hell of a player. Yeah, he's starting to age a little bit, but we're not talking about a guy that's old yet. You know what I mean? He's on the precipice of becoming that, in terms of his playing career, not as a human, but in his playing career. So I'm fired up for it, dude. Linebacker has been a position of weakness for us for a very, very long time. We've discussed it on this show numerous times that, it's been a long time since we had Robert Thomas, Thomas Howard, and Kirk Morrison, linebackers that could actually make plays. Oh, I don't know, create turnovers, intercept the football, maybe. Like, what a concept. It's been an awful long time since we had players like that. And now I think that when you look at the way that KJ Wright rounds out, sadly losing Morrow, it certainly hurt, but rounds
the young
out.
Linebacker Javin White got injured in the preseason. He was looking interesting, possibly.
And Morrow,
to make the team.
Yeah. And so, now, but you look at it, now you got three guys that are, you got serious veterans going on there. You got serious leadership coming from your defense now with Wright, Littleton, and Quit. I always say it like this. Kwiatkowski.
They restructured Kwiatkowski's deal about a month ago to make room for these signings of KJ Wright.
Well, they had to, man. They had to start moving some puzzle pieces around. And so, yeah, man, I think it's great. I'm fired up for KJ Wright. I think that, again, you had an amazingly solid player, an excellent leader, that veteran presence. Like, yeah, this is kind of like Navarro Bowman signing, if you remember that one, right? It was kind of like we got that guy that's like been there, done that. You know what I mean?
It's a Raider move.
It's a Raider
classic
move.
Raider move. Right before the season starts, you bring in a veteran that might be on his downward trend, but you start him and he plays pretty decent, better than the ones we have.
Bill Romanowski, anybody remember when John Gruden did that? You know what I mean? Like, that's what this kind of thing echoes a lot. Yeah, I'm with you.
So I'm excited. I'm actually happy to have some positivity or some excitement going into the season because I'm not relying on YouTube for money. Thanks to cryptocurrency. Boy, crypto's having a bad day so far, boy, today.
Oh, God,
oh my goodness. I'm getting like my Ethereum, everything's going down. And I was like, should I do the show or should I sell? Like, what am I doing today?
Thankfully, I sold off a bunch of stuff over the weekend because it was riding pretty high. And then today the bottom fell out. I was like, whew, glad I did.
Yeah, I'm going to do what the apes do. Hold the door.
Well, I still.
Hold door.
That's an excellent Game of Thrones reference. Yeah, dude, and I'm still holding on most everything, but every once in a while when I see a good peak, I'll sell off a little chunk just to kind of pull back a little bit,
Yeah, but thanks to YouTube or being banned, and it's not really the little bit of money I got back in the days is not really a mandate in my life right now. So I have a little bit of better feeling going into shows, and I don't feel that pressure. So that's why I'm also excited for this year, is because I kind of don't have some of that pressure leading into this season to be on YouTube, to make money, to make hot takes, and all that other stuff. So I think we're going to have a good season. All right, let's move along to a little bit of a sensitive topic, and I know many of you do not want to talk about it. I don't care. Again, I don't need the YouTube views or money anymore because I'm very blessed right now. But it's a very big situation to me, and yeah. So Mark Davis at the beginning of the season, or right before the season, announced that every home game, in order for fans to come to the game, they have to be vaccinated. This comes on the heels of the preseason game versus Seattle, I believe it was, and the excuse was that they didn't know how to mandate everybody wearing masks. They would take off the mask, this and that. But long story short, he made it mandatory that you have to be vaccinated to watch any home game this year. And this is the first opportunity for a home game during the season with fans. So I guess I'll ask you, I don't know how to phrase the question correctly. What are your thoughts on forced vaccinations for football and our Raider fans?
All right, this is like the most sensitive topic. We danced around it a little bit on our show on Raiders Fan Radio, and it was actually got semi-heated. I'm with you. I don't know how entertaining it is to hear people, with their own opinions on this. But I'll say this. I'll keep it Raider focused instead of my own personal views on things. So in terms of the Raiders, okay, Mark Davis was given a choice. You could either have people in the stands with masks on, or you could require vaccination status. Okay. And we've seen similar type scenarios play out around the league. Who gave him that choice though? Who do you think? The governor of freaking Nevada. So it wasn't like, it wasn't coming from some low key city official here. This was coming from, the highest level of government within their state. So when you talk about around the league and you look at like what the Saints had to do, or what the Steelers do, or what the Lions are doing, some of the teams that play in outdoor stadiums have a lot more freedom. But then there are some outdoor stadiums like even Seattle where they still have to wear masks. Mark Davis wanted to create an environment where Raiders fans weren't forced to wear a mask. And so he made a choice. So I can choose two things. I can either let fans wear masks and then not have to worry about proof of vaccination, or I can ask for everybody to show proof of vaccination and then no one has to wear a mask. So I think that he was acting on behalf of the fans in terms of providing an environment for us to go in there and scream and yell and go crazy and not have to wear a mask. And so I applaud him for making that decision. Now, whether anybody agrees with that or not doesn't matter to me. That part is irrelevant because there were people in my own studio that didn't, quote, agree. But I think what we have to do is we have to reduce it down to what he actually had to do. And that was make a choice between A and B. And sometimes in life, there isn't a good decision or a bad decision. You just got to pick a lane. And that was the lane he picked. And he did it acting on behalf of the fans. So I will certainly applaud him for that based on what everybody else is doing around there. Now I'll give you just a little tinge of personal opinion. I went to a hockey playoff game this last year, and I had to show proof of vaccination for that too. So it's not like this is some unprecedented thing. But no one's talking about it in the NHL because the NHL is a lower tier, not lower tier, but it's the lower of the four main sports. But then also on the other hand, Mikey, I've been to concerts, I've been to sporting events, I've been to comedy shows. I've been to a lot of different gatherings of people and have enjoyed the heck out of the idea that we get to congregate once again. Let's not forget what life was like for us last year, where we were begging to do things. And here we have an opportunity to go see our Raiders. And so again, Raider Nation, let's try to avoid the idea of, well, I live my life like this and I live my life like that. Let's just celebrate the idea that we all get to return to go back and to see live things again. And I'm sorry if you can't go to the game because you're not vaccinated. My son my youngest has a tree nut allergy. He can't get the vaccine. So he doesn't get to go to a Raider game this year. And that's unfortunate. I wish it were different, but that's the world that we're in. And so I get it, man. Look, I can't change that. You can't change it. He can't change it. So that's just going to be a consequence of it, So, anyways, I've probably said already more than I want to. I will say this though, too. Last thing, parting shot. You know who got it right? You know who got out of everybody in all of this so far? You know who got it right was college football. When you watched college football this last weekend, they had it right. People were enjoying watching their team play. They were congregating. They were cheering. There was not this, I'll call it pandemic theater that so many organizations fall into. And unfortunately, the NFL has fallen into pandemic theater because, like I said at the beginning, they chase the money. The NFL will always follow the money. And the way that you make the most money is by making everybody happy. You try to appeal to everybody. Well, when you appeal to everybody, then you make no one happy. So that's where the difference is for Mark Davis, is that he picked his lane and he knew he wasn't going to make everybody happy. But everybody that's going to show up and see a Raider game live and cheer them on without a mask on is going to be happier than a pig in shit. And I'll be one of them.
Cool. I mean, again, it's such a weird topic, and I hate division, whether it be with us broadcasters, with Raider Nation, with the world as a whole. And like, we've been divided as a Raider Nation on multiple subjects for, let's call it, the betterment of 10 freaking years, it seems like. And I'm just tired of that negativity. And this, whether you agree or not, it adds to division. Whatever side of the fence you fall on, it's going to divide us again. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that Mark Davis took a stance, again, whether right or wrong, whether who told him or what, it's going to cause divide. And he knows that. I mean, I saw it in his face in the press conference. It was hurting him. But then, again, I have a little bit of an analytical brain. And you said that the governor of Nevada gave him a choice. I don't think it was the governor of Nevada, because why is he not telling casinos? Why is he not telling the WNBA Aces, who Mark Davis also runs, to do that for their stadium? The Knights are not forcing it, as we know of, as of now. Casinos are not doing it. So, again, you got to think like that. So do you really think the governor told Mark Davis? I don't think so. I think it goes further beyond that, and like you said, follow the money. Intermountain Healthcare is the provider of the training camp facility for the Raiders. They are a healthcare service. They have big pharma in their pocketbooks and whatnot, and the company Clear has an application. They are an internet-based application with health. There's a lot of money to be made with vaccines and forcing it. And that's as far as I'm going to get into this. But there's multiple companies that are in Mark Davis's ears that have invested in the stadium, the training camp center, and Mark Davis feels he owes them something, I believe.
That's a fair point. And that's where, and that's the tough thing about this, is that no one's going to be right. And and I say all of everything that I said earlier is completely without judgment. This is a free country that we live in, and I don't begrudge anybody for any decision that they make. And you are absolutely right that when it comes to the NFL, this is the hypocrisy of all of this, is that they are presenting one way, but yet it's not an even playing field. It's not even, they can't even get their own COVID protocols figured out. Like, they've literally created a competitive advantage amongst the teams based on their COVID protocol. And that's, again, you talk about, that's to me, that's a failure of leadership. Like, you have to provide the same for everyone of what you possibly can. When you're talking about a competitive sports league, it has to be a level playing field, and they have disrupted that. And so I just don't think it's the
NFL.
I said all that to say this. I think it's a lot of people. You're right. I think there's a lot going on.
It's the new Raiders. We are a money-making machine. He wants to be a businessman. He got the stadium built. There's billions and billions of dollars at stake. Jerry Jones is also in the pocket of Mark Davis a little bit, helping him get the stadium. It's a new Raider team. It's all about finances. And I just think that Mark Davis is choosing the powers over some of the Raider fans. And it's clearly a new team. And why isn't any other NFL team, as of right now, forcing this mandate? I didn't hear about anybody.
Yeah, the Saints are. I got it right here. Saints became the first team to require proof of vaccination or negative test result for spectators. Fans will also be required to wear a mask at the Caesars Superdome unless they are eating or drinking. The mandate was announced by the New Orleans mayor, LaToya Cantrell, on August 12th.
I thought that was for preseason.
Nope. I'm telling you, man, they're not the only one.
I did not know that, so forgive me. I had it written down that no other team is doing that. But so I was thinking that, again, this is my thoughts before I learned that, but I still think the Raiders are test subjects because our fan base is like the most loyal in every direction, and we can go in any direction. You know, there's not a left and a right to Raider Nation. Like, a lot of us love Derek Carr and hate Derek Carr, yet we're still Raider fans or whatever. Right. So, like, I feel like the NFL is kind of using the Raiders as a test subject as well because, and the Saints too, you know, like maybe we're both test subjects of this vaccine mandate. And
wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the Raiders made a little bit of a deal with the devil to get out of Vegas. Like, let's not sugarcoat that. Like, you know, there was a reason that we were sacrificing home games to play in, you know, Mexico City and London and all that stuff. The Raiders were beholden to the wills and whims of the NFL in order to gain the approval of the ownership group in order to bail out of Oakland, because the NFL didn't want to be in Oakland and Mark Davis didn't want to be in Oakland anymore. And I don't blame him because the city of Oakland treated him and the Raiders like trash, just like they're doing to the A's now. And so, you know, he did them a solid in a lot of other areas. It wouldn't surprise me, Mikey. Again, like, none of this stuff surprises me at all. And I think that all points are very, very fair to be considered. And then I'm just going to say one last thing and then I'm going to shut up. But, like, again, college football got it right. If you watch college football this last weekend, that's an organization, that's stadiums, that's leagues getting it right. And there's no reason the NFL couldn't have done that. But they didn't. They chose not to because, again, pandemic theater.
Yeah, just to end it on this, and then if you want to go to the game, apparently you can be vaccinated in the parking lot, and I guess 30 minutes later you can go into the game. Some people
but you still have to wear a mask.
Yeah, some people have side effects. Let's just be honest. Some people have died from the vaccine. They just don't talk about it on the news as much as they should. You know, whatever. I'm afraid, like. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody, but I would be so sad if a Raider fan decided to get the vaccine just to watch a game and a side effect happened and maybe he passed away during the game, after the game, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's extremist thinking there.
Well, I mean, it's happened. People have died from the vaccine, you know, days later.
And people die in the parking lot every year, too. Like, again, it's extremist.
I know. I'm just scared. You get it? Like, to have that on Mark Davis's head if he made a decision and somebody that, you know, was a fan passed away or something like that. Like, it's just scary, man. It's just really, really scary. And I don't know. I don't wish that on anybody to feel that way, that they possibly killed a Raider fan or something like that. It's just scary for me. It's the way I think. The NFL's got some crazy, mandates for players that are vaccinated. And early on, because I'm a conspiracy guy or whatever, I was watching the training camp videos where, during training camp, if you were not vaccinated at that moment, you had to wear a mask at training camp. And so early on the Raiders website, I saw Josh Jacobs running the ball, and he was wearing a mask. I saw Derek Carr wearing a mask early on. I don't know if they're vaccinated or not now, but I did see that video from Raiders.com in one of their early training camp videos. So I'm like, I don't know if they are or they're not. I do not care. That's their choice. in my opinion, it's my body, my choice. But this season with the NFL protocols, I guarantee you there are a couple of players on the Raiders, maybe even big ones, that haven't been vaccinated. That's going to cause a lot of scary moments for a lot of teams in the NFL.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the part where the NFL has botched this thing, is that they have created a competitive advantage. I mean, and look, here's the thing that, look, and I really want, let's move on from this too after this, please. They're a private organization. They can do whatever they want. Look, I go to work, I go to a job every day, and if my company said, you have to get vaccinated or you can't work here anymore, I have a choice to make. Like, I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it. Well, the NFL clearly wants everybody to be vaccinated, so just freaking mandate it. Don't play both sides of the fence. Don't try to make everybody happy. Just say you got to be vaccinated to play in the NFL. And if players choose not to do that, well, good for them. Then they can go find another job doing something else. But like, it's a private organization. They can do whatever the hell they want to do. This is not a government gig. Like, so that's the part that just drives me nuts. And so instead, by trying to appease to everybody and make everyone happy, now what have you done? You've created a potential competitive imbalance in your league because they're not going to reschedule any games, so it's stupid. That drives me nuts.
Yeah. Look, we don't have to go into the COVID, mask, vaccination, hypocrisy. All of that stuff is in my head. I need to make a conspiracy video or whatever you guys want to call it, and we can go through that. But now we're going to get into the good stuff. Let's move on. Right. We cannot control all that's going on in the world, unfortunately. So let's get into the state of the Raiders. Are you ready, brother?
The Raiders.
All right, let's get into the state of the Raiders. Let's talk about what your feelings are as of this moment in their Raider career going into the season. Let's start with John Gruden. What do you think the state of John Gruden is as of this moment?
I think this is highly consequential for Gruden. I think that, when you look at the entirety of his career, he's got identical records with Tampa Bay that he does with the Raiders, which is 57 and 55, if I remember right off the top of my head. He won a Super Bowl, and people will often say that, he won a Super Bowl with Tony Dungy's team. Well, yeah, but Bill Callahan took a team that was John Gruden's team to that same Super Bowl. So I think that argument could fall on either side. And I think that if John Gruden stays with the Raiders, I think that if the Tuck rule doesn't happen, you're talking about hasn't been, at least in our era of football, no bigger momentum shift in the trajectory of two organizations on the field than that one single play. So I think that for where he's at now, with his record and with those two blips on the radar, one under Al Davis's guidance and then one when he took over Tony Dungy's team, he's a 500 football coach. He's a very entertaining human being. He's a very, gregarious, funny guy. Like, he's great in an interview and he's great in sound bites and all that kind of stuff. Knock on wood with me and all that. And Frank Caliendo impressions and all that. I love everything about John Gruden except his current win-loss record. So I think that a lot of fans are starting to turn, if they haven't completely turned already, to the idea that, look, this is now we need to see results. And what other team in the NFL gets 4 years of no playoff spots and doesn't fire their head coach? That doesn't happen. Now, you can make the argument that the Raiders are building for a long-term franchise turnaround, that they're not trying to do a one and done like the Eagles or something like that. They're trying to build for long-term success. That's fair. I'll embrace that point of that folks try to make. But at the end of the day, though, it's still at some point we have to see them start to translate into results on the field, put more numbers in the left column than you are putting in the right column. And I think that it's highly critical for John Gruden to do that this year, because his legacy is going to start to get defined. Like, John Madden was all those things that Gruden is. He was the big personality, the big TV presence, all those kinds of things. Oh yeah, and he was the winningest freaking head football coach in the time in which he coached, and certainly still to this day, I think percentage-wise for the Raiders. And he had a Super Bowl and a whole bunch of freaking AFC championships, not championships, but championship appearances to go on his resume. So there was a lot of clout that Madden brought to that. At this point with John Gruden, like he needs more. Like he's got to put some more bona fides down, man. Otherwise, he's going to start losing credibility.
Yeah. For these next few, again, I love hearing everything you say, but we're an hour into the show. Let's give some.
Okay, so go fast. This is Mikey's nice way of saying, "Shut the hell up, Murph." Say it. Give me a one-line answer.
No, KIS. Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Okay. All right, go.
So my opinion on John Gruden, the state of John Gruden at this moment is he's feeling the pressure. He's definitely feeling the pressure, but he knows it's his team. Mark Davis still has faith in him, and he is improving, so we got to give him that much. But the NFL is taking notice, and unfortunately, some of the predictions with Gruden being a head coach and his free agents, his players that he picked up, whatever, they're not panning out as good as he thought, and I'm sure it's irking him, to say the least. So some Raider fans that were high on Gruden are now definitely starting to become a little bit sour. So that'll bring me into Mike Mayock. I do believe that Mike Mayock is doing his best. I do believe that Gruden probably makes most of the decisions in drafts and in free agency. But I believe this season that Mayock and Gruden finally listened to people like Gus Edwards. Gus Bradley, the new defensive coordinator, in picking some draft picks. When in previous seasons, I'll be honest, I don't think Mayock and Gruden probably went outside the room. But I think they finally did this year for a couple of picks. I can't prove it, but I think they did. So that shows progression. But Mike Mayock is definitely a possible fall guy if things don't pan out in that situation. What are your thoughts on Mike Mayock?
Yeah, I think, I think that Mike Mayock being on the hot seat is more of a fan speculation type thing. But yeah, certainly, like at some point you do have to produce results. I still don't feel like we're far enough out yet to fairly assign success or failure to Mike Mayock. I think that we've got to give him a little bit more runway on that. And again, all it takes is one draft class or a few players here and there to be, that you hit a home run on, and all of a sudden the narrative changes really, really fast. So I think that it's important because I think Mayock carries legacy as well behind this, being that he came out of the booth. He was a former player in the NFL and was a hell of a TV personality and a great sidekick to Rich Eisen and all the combine coverage and all that. Like, I loved Mayock in the booth, man. He was great. And so when the Raiders took him out of the booth and put him in the front office, I thought it was a fabulous move. So you're talking about taking the man's, he was a draft expert and a player evaluating expert. And so now he's taking the test. So he's going to prove whether he was accurate and worth all that expertise that was assigned to him. Now we're going to see it in real life and see how it plays out in real life. So I think there's a lot of legacy riding on the team, and Mayock certainly is one of them.
Derek Carr.
I said it at the top, man. Oldest quarterback not named Ryan Fitzpatrick to not win a playoff or not start a playoff game. Well, clearly not his fault because Trent Cole's big ass rolled up on his ankle and broke his leg. So otherwise that wouldn't be true. But bottom line is it still is. While I think it's low-hanging fruit in the path of least resistance to just point at the quarterback and go, it's that guy's fault. Like, quarterbacks get more of the credit than they deserve, and they get more of the blame than they deserve. You're talking about the ultimate team sport where you got 11 people on either side of the ball. And I think that the idea that the Raiders haven't been successful in the postseason to this point is all Derek's fault, I think is it's a lazy narrative. But that said, still, when you're 30 years old and you've been a quarterback as long as you have, like, are you doing things on the field that are elevating the players around you? Are you making those players better? When you look at Matt Stafford, very similar career path to what Derek Carr is on the road with. No one ever looked at the Lions teams and said it was Matt's fault that we're losing because Matt elevated the players that he had around them. I think it would be it's very critical this year for Derek to prove that he is able to lift up those around him. a la like a, everybody hates to talk about him, but Tom Brady, he makes his receivers better. He throws them open, right? You want to see Derek take those types of strides now at 30 years old. Make everybody around you better, Derek, because then regardless of what the team's success is, you won't be the constant scapegoat that you are now.
Yeah, very well said. Again, his legacy is on the line, and I couldn't agree more with that statement. The only thing I want to say about Derek Carr is, again, I believe he's the greatest Raider quarterback to play for this team. And you guys can say that, well, what about this quarterback or that quarterback? I just mean, let's look at the stats. Stats are the NFL. He's the greatest statistical Raider quarterback in the history, and I'm proud of that. I'm not proud that he has a losing record as a quarterback. I'm not proud of the fact that he doesn't go to playoffs and all that other stuff. And I agree with you. I don't think he makes players better. I mean, he's a Phillip Rivers. That's what his career's looking like as of now. Like a good quarterback with a lot of passion, but it's just not happening. And I want him to get out of that vein. And here's where I'm going to say this. I believe this year is going to be the biggest year for Derek Carr. Not because they added a better defense or this or that. All the excuses they give Derek Carr for not winning, I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to say, look back to the Tom Brady storyline that came out a few months back or last year before he signed with Tampa Bay. Tom Brady went to an event in Vegas last year. He met with Mark Davis, John Gruden at a UFC event. There's pictures of him at the event meeting with Mark Davis and John Gruden. Then he became a Tampa Bay Buck, and just this past offseason, an article came out where Tom Brady was quoted saying, "You're going to stick with that MFer?" So which quarterback was he talking about when he was looking for teams? That quote came out, "You're going to stick with that MFer?"
Yeah, it never came out who it was, huh?
Correct. So, again, I'm a conspiracy person. I like putting puzzle pieces together. There's pictures of him with Mayock and Gruden when he was looking for a team. And now the quote came out, "You're going to stick with that MFer." I think that was John Gruden and Mayock and Mark Davis's way of telling Tom Brady, we were interested, we wanted to have a meeting with you, but we're going to stick with Derek Carr. They made a decision after that night to give their faith in Derek Carr. So I believe that quote is for Derek Carr. It could be anybody else. But that proves, if that's the truth, that proves Gruden is all in on Carr. They live next to each other. He's the Raider quarterback. And I believe Derek Carr knows the truth as well. And I believe he finally feels relieved that he's not going to be traded or whatever, that he is Gruden's quarterback. And I think he's going to have a fantastic year.
Can I throw one last little caveat in there? Something that I thought was interesting, Mikey, that, the Raiders have been doing some restructuring here in order to make room for, like KJ Wright and whatnot. And they've been doing some things where they're,
We're going to have
guaranteeing
$55 million next year under the cap.
Absolutely. And so they've been converting a lot of this money this year into signing bonuses to create space. Well, don't you know, one of the easiest contracts that the Raiders could rework is Derek Carr. But they chose not to do that. And I think that's interesting because, again, what's the answer? Follow the money. Well, the money right now says Derek Carr's up after next year. That's it. The end. And so that was curious to me. Like the idea that they didn't, add on a couple years to his contract, convert some money into a signing bonus. All of a sudden, the Raiders got an extra $20 million in the hole. Like it would be a very easy, workable thing for them. But they've chosen not to do that. They've been messing with the smaller contracts with like Kwiatkowski, and doing that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Another year, though. They got another year, and they're going to be $55 million under the cap, according to the experts, next year.
Man.
So I think, again, this is
we're
the
going to
year.
have Devontae Adams signing money next year is what we're going to have, hopefully. Packers don't franchise him.
This is the year. But I believe Derek Carr will get an extension next year, or they're just going to flat out let him play on the last year deal, and then we'll think about it from there.
Well, and maybe that's why they haven't reworked it, because they have plans to redo it for next year, and he already knows that. And I think that's a very fair counterpoint, Mikey. I totally agree with you there. That would make a lot of sense too, because like it's an easy thing for the Raiders to do, and it's an easy thing.
It would be cheaper if they were both willing to do it right now. You get it? It would be a little bit cheaper, but if the Raiders go to the playoffs, Derek Carr plays as well as he did last year, go to the playoffs. I'm telling you, they lost a few $1 million. He is going to sign the extension, but they lost a few $1 million out of that.
You're right. Derek might be banking on it. Heck, we don't know. See, this is the kind of stuff we as fans don't know. Heck, they might have offered him an extension. And Derek goes, yeah, I'll wait. Let's do it next year instead. Let's see how, you know what I mean? Because you're right. If he wins a playoff game or two, all of a sudden his leverage goes through the roof.
100%. It's going to be interesting, off-season to say the least.
Yeah.
So the last question is, I put out a poll, and I said, who is on the hot sheet, in your opinion, for our Vegas Raiders? Mike Mayock, Derek Carr, Coach John Gruden, or owner Mark Davis? Move your head a little bit to the right or left. Maybe the other way. So the leading one is John Gruden is on the hot seat, according to 222 votes. Who is on the hot seat, like officially, meaning from your perspective? I'm sorry, in your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, for lack of a better term, I would say it's Derek Carr. I mean, Gruden's not going anywhere. You 222 people that voted for that.
You can still be on the hot seat, even though you're not fired. Like, that doesn't mean you'll be fired. It just means you're on the hot seat.
Who's got the most pressure on them? It's Derek Carr. Derek Carr is the one that has to take the field and deal with the boo birds and everything else. It's on Derek. I don't think anybody on this, look, no one's going anywhere. These four guys are going to be in the same four positions come starting next year too. But I think in terms of again, I started this whole segment off saying that there's legacy for all four of these guys. So that doesn't diminish, but I think if I had to rank them, I would go with Derek because he's the one that actually has to put the football in his hands and go out there and do it.
Yeah, I'm going to go Mark Davis. Again, I just, the way he's running this team, there's a lot of precarious situations, whether it be hiring John Gruden, this or that. That's in my opinion. So I'm going to go with, I believe Mark Davis is on the hot seat because he's possibly losing a lot of Raider Nation, moving from Oakland, this, just a lot of stuff. But the truth is, it's Mike Mayock. I believe it's Mike Mayock. If we don't make the playoffs, I believe Mike Mayock will be the fall guy. He might possibly be fired after next year. But, that's just my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Fair.
All right, let's move along. Let's get into the Monday night game preview. I wish I had some audio and special effects. Game preview. Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Take it away, Murf.
Monday. Come see Mikey in his nitro burning funny car.
All right. So we open up not our inaugural season, but our inaugural season with vaccinated fans.
Let's go.
It sucks. I had to segregate our fans right there. Not with fans, with vaccinated fans. For a Monday night game on television. And I'm excited. I can't wait. I wish I could be there. Long story short, what are the matchups that you're looking forward to in this game? Just give me a couple of them. We'll move it along, but give me a couple of them.
Yeah, our defensive front four against Lamar Jackson. I think that's, what we're going to do to put pressure on him. No quarterback likes pressure. They all get happy feet. And even though you have somebody with the elite mobility of Lamar Jackson, if we start getting some pressure with, of course, the easiest two to point out are Yannick and Max coming off the edges. But I'm really excited to see what we do in the middle, to see what kind of push we can get from the interior of the defensive line, to see Gus Bradley's system in action, that four-man front. I think back to the Seattle days when we saw guys like Michael Bennett and, just get that so disruptive push up the middle of the field, which forces the quarterbacks out of the pocket. And again, even though Lamar is very capable and frankly elite out of the pocket, I just love to see that idea of let's get him out of rhythm early. And reason two, Mikey, is that how we play Lamar, while they are drastically different players in terms of like mobility and athleticism and whatnot. That's how you got to beat Patrick Mahomes, right? The way that you Tampa proved that in the Super Bowl. You beat him by getting pressure on him early, beat him up a little bit, knock him around a little bit, and get him off of his game. And and all quarterbacks are susceptible to that. But since we know we have to beat Mahomes that way, well, let's do that to Lamar Jackson too. Like, now, granted, Patrick is elusive out of the pocket. He'll get out and run a little bit, where Lamar Jackson is freaking elite, right? He's like a running back out there, or a kick returner or something, the way that he's able to move with the football. So so that part of their games are different, and then of course Patrick's got elite throwing ability that I think Lamar has been, at times fairly criticized about his throwing capabilities. So I also think I think Lamar Jackson is one of the most overhyped, overrated players in the NFL. I firmly believe that. I think that he's flashy. I think that he's a highlight reel, but I think he's Michael Vick 2.0. Like, yeah, see me when you start winning a bunch of playoff games and you start, you know what I mean? Again, that ability to make others around him better. That's such an important thing for the quarterback. I don't see Lamar Jackson doing that a ton, despite even his MVP year. And again, don't at me on that, or if you want to, fine, have at it. But I'm telling you, I really do think he's overrated. I mean, I don't think he's as special and as unique as what media will tell you that he is. So, anyways, that said, this offense is going to go the way of Lamar Jackson. They've got injuries that they're dealing with on that side of the ball as well. So the matchup I'm looking forward to is that front four. What are we going to do to be disruptive and to take that young man out of his game early?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I want to go player versus player, but I'm not that technical and analytical, and I don't even know half the players on the Ravens roster. So I'm just going to be honest. I think we know what the Raiders offense is. We know what they're capable of, even against a perennial good defense in the Ravens. We know what Waller and Carr and they're capable of. We know that. We don't know what the rookie wide receivers are capable of on Monday Night Football against good quality talent this year. But yeah, all Raider fan is looking towards the defense and Gus Bradley's defense. And I think the matchup is Lamar Jackson. But I don't think, from my non-expert opinion, I'm not worried about Lamar Jackson and actually sacking him. I'm not worried about that. I want to disrupt Lamar Jackson's lanes. I want to force him to throw the ball and not run sideline to sideline and then break an open run against us. I actually think the matchup to watch is our defensive ends and how they can control the sidelines from Lamar Jackson and force him to hopefully run out of bounds or pass the ball instead of, a planned run play up the middle or a planned run play with Lamar Jackson. I really want him to throw. So I would hope the defensive line would focus in on stopping Lamar Jackson's runs and stopping him up the middle to where he has to kind of throw the ball or something like that very quickly. I'm not a very analytical person. I don't know all the right terms, but I would prefer Lamar Jackson being turned into a throwing quarterback. So however the defense has to control the line of scrimmage, whether they blitz him or they contain the outsides or they rush up the middle to make him throw quickly, I want him to be a thrower, and I think we can win that way. We're not going to win trying to get sacks like Arden Key does every dang year when the Raiders, he almost got a sack. He almost. I'd rather him tackle him or make a quarterback a thrower, because I think then our linebackers like KJ Wright and Kwiatkowski, I think they can handle that. Kwiatkowski. All right. Again, I'm not very technical. Any bold?
You don't need to be, Mikey. We're just fans. Let the tape studiers be the tape studiers. Let the analysts be the analysts. That's not what we do, man. We watch the games and we react with our emotion of being Raider fans. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Don't apologize.
I just hate the comments. Mikey Raider, you're stupid. You don't know nothing about football. You need to study.
F those people. There's plenty of places on the internet where you can go see wannabe analysts.
I'm insecure. I got some issues.
There's plenty of look. There is no shortage of wannabe analysts on the internet. You can find them.
Any bold predictions for that game? Like, I don't know, like a breakout player, or this or that, whatever, an MVP. But any bold predictions?
Yes, I think that one of the members of our secondary is going to come away with multiple interceptions.
Multiple? That's more than one, people.
That's more than one. So
put it on the board.
Is that Merrick coming up with a couple? Is that, I don't know, Arnett? That's talking about bold. Whatever. I think somebody in the secondary is going to come up with 2 picks. Or more, but multiple interception game.
My bold prediction is that Henry Ruggs will have a over 60-yard touchdown from Derek Carr in this game.
Love it.
And so will Hollywood Brown for the Ravens versus the Raiders defense. It's going to be the Ruggs versus Hollywood Brown show in this game. And MVP, then I'll go to you for MVP. I think the MVP of this game will be Henry Ruggs.
Nice.
Give me your MVP.
I'm going to go, since we're going bold, I'm going to go Jonathan Abram. I was thinking that. I'm going to say Abram comes up with a pick, but more importantly, you don't see Gus Bradley blitz a lot, but that was the whole reason that they got Merrick, was so they had a coverage safety to go along with the hard-hitting young man that wears number 24, and you watch him play up close to the line of scrimmage and go in there and blast Lamar Jackson and force a fumble. So I'm going to go with Jonathan Abram.
Jonathan Abram blitzed a bunch in this preseason. I saw that.
I think that's getting him ready for something, man. Don't you love seeing that? Like, I'm a sucker for numbers, man. And, Woodson wearing that 24 and, of course, the legendary Willie Brown and even Marshawn for a minute. But, like, that imagery of Woodson on a blitz wearing 20, like, it's just seeing Jonathan Abram do it, too. It just, like, it feels so Raidery, man. I love it.
You're right. Give me your final score prediction.
I'm terrible at these.
I know, but we got to do it.
I always whiff so bad, even though, like, it's funny. And then when I try to be silly, then I actually get close. So I'm going to go Raiders 31, Ravens 24.
Wow, that's a lot of scoring against bad defenses, apparently.
Yes.
God, I'm not going to be a Raider homer, guys. I try to stick to my guns, even though I always want them to win. I do not believe the Raiders win, which is unfortunate because it is the inaugural game with fans at home on Monday night, and I cannot believe I'm doing this. You guys can yell at me. I'm not even going to read your comments, if there are any. But Raiders lose 21-17. They put in a valiant performance. But we're going to look forward to a good year after this performance. We're going to see a lot of good stuff from Henry Ruggs, Abram, Carr, whoever, the O-line. But unfortunately, I believe we lose 21-17.
Well, we shocked the world last year opening up on Monday Night Football, so let's do it again this year, Raiders.
Did you notice? That's why they put us on Monday Night Football to open the season again. It's not only the stadium with fans, it's because we had the best ratings of Monday Night Football last year than in the entirety of the history of Monday Night Football. Well, inflation. Inflation.
Right. But look, man, the Raiders, once upon a time, we were referred to as the kings of Monday night. Like, we built an entire legacy around winning on Monday Night Football. Like, so yeah, absolutely. The Raiders are a big deal on Monday, and they just look like, I'll save I know we're getting short on time here, but the Raiders just look good on Monday night. The colors, the crowd, like everything just looks good at night.
It's Monday Night Football with the LA, Oakland, Nevada, Las Vegas Raiders versus the Cleveland Browns that are now called the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. We have Dennis Miller here to do the politics. We have Dennis Miller back again. After a 20-year hiatus, Dennis Miller is back to do the politics. Do you remember Dennis Miller? Is that his name?
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah,
All
good
right,
pull,
season preview.
All right.
Some bold predictions for this season.
All right. Well, I think my bold predictions might come from my MVPs of this team. So I'll call my bold predictions and then my MVPs kind of one and the same. So how about win-loss total? Well, if 10-7,
We're playing 17 games now.
yeah. So if 10-7 is narrowly missing the playoffs, I'm going to put the Raiders down for 11-6 and say that we narrowly make the playoffs. That's my prediction.
So they would probably have to be a wild card.
Oh yeah, because listen, we're gonna have to do. The Raiders would have to overachieve at practically an unprecedented level to win the division. Look, I mean, I hate them as much as everyone else listening to this show does, but we have to be really real that the Chiefs are generationally talented and well coached, and look, they're going to win a lot of football games. You're talking about in this era of football, like the elite team, like in terms of year in, year out, because it's not the Patriots anymore. So it's the freaking, and the Bucks are only going to be short lived, until Tom Brady retires and everybody else that's 30 plus years old on that team. So you're talking about a team that's foreseeably going to be good for a very long time, unless we hopefully see them get into like cap trouble or something. But outside of something like that, or a major injury or something, like they're the best team in football and going to be for all intents and purposes. Don't get me wrong, any given Sunday, and not to say that they won't lose and whatever. But look, man, we're the only one that knocked them off last year. So until Tampa did it. So it's to beat that team and to win the AFC West, I think is an awful, awful tall order. So yeah, I think regardless, we're going in as a wild card.
We're gonna see if your total is right in a minute. I'm gonna go 10-7 now.
10-7, yeah.
Again, we're gonna answer these questions in a minute, but I think they'll be 10-7. We're actually gonna do the schedule. We're gonna quickly say win, loss for the teams in a minute. But I think it's going to be 10-7. We'll figure it out once we look at it. Bold predictions for the season. I believe that Willie Snead will somehow, like Nelson Aguilar did last year, will end up being one of the best wide receivers on that team statistically. I actually think Willie Snead might be number one again in stats in terms of yardage on the wide receiver side of the ball. I just think a veteran, maybe with injuries or unfortunately, hopefully none of that happens. I don't know. I just foresee it again. On a one-year contract, Willie Snead like Nelson Aguilar did last year. I don't know. I kind of see it. Willie Speed being a little bit better than Henry Ruggs, Edwards, and Renfro statistically. I just not Waller, of course, not Waller. That's my bold prediction for the season. And yeah, do you have one?
Yeah. So, again, my bold predictions are going to come from the players I think that are going to,
So then give an MVP on offense and defense.
Yeah. So my MVP I don't know how you can not pick Darren Waller here, is the MVP on offense. But here's where I'll go bold prediction. I don't think he's going to lead the team in touchdown receptions. I think that's going to come from Bryan Edwards.
Yeah.
I think when you look at what Derek likes, when you look at all the touchdowns that he threw in 2016, it was to Andre Holmes, it was to Jared Cook, it was to Michael Crabtree. It was big receivers that are able to high point the football, bully people out, box people out, and go up and get the football. Derek loves to throw the 50-50 ball. And now he's got a guy that is going to be you got a guy. He's going to be an absolute stud in the red zone to go along with Darren Waller. So I think that while Waller is going to lead in receptions and most likely yards, I think Bryan Edwards is going to lead the team in touchdown receptions.
All right, give me your defensive MVP.
I'm going to go with, there's a really big chunk of me that wants to go with Trayvon Merrick. I really want, but the fan in me wants to pick somebody in the secondary. I'm a huge Jonathan Abram fan, and I really want to see him break out and to be the defensive MVP for the team. But I think that with the amount of veterans and the amount of production that comes out of the veterans that we have signed, especially in somebody like Yannick Ngakoue, I think that that's the guy that's going to be the MVP of this defense. I think he's going to get to the quarterback a lot. And I think that that's also going to open up for Max Crosby to get to the quarterback a lot and to return to that 10-sack type form that we saw from him in his rookie year. So give me Yannick Ngakoue, man. I think that he's a perfect fit to this team, and I really look forward to watching him play this year.
All right. I'll stick with that sentiment. I'll start with defense. I believe the MVP at the end of the season on defense, I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to say KJ Wright. I'm going to give this man some faith. We've needed a linebacker. He's coming off injuries. Maybe he has one good year in him. And he's a great man off the field. He does a lot for his community. And I really think he might be able to get a little bit of spark of those days with Gus Bradley in Seattle. And I'm gonna say KJ Wright leads the team in tackles, and he was like a mainstay. It doesn't mean he's the MVP. He got all the interceptions, all the sacks. It's just he solidified our linebacker core against tight ends. That's what I want. So he's the MVP on defense for me. Then on offense, I'm going to go with the man nobody thinks about, nobody talks about. I'm going to say the MVP will be Kenyon Drake, catching the ball out of the backfield. I think he might actually have over 700 yards out of the backfield under Derek Carr. I love everybody to be the MVP. I would hope the O-line would be the MVP. Derek Carr, I don't care any of them. I know Darren Waller is. But I think Kenyon Drake out of the backfield is going to open up some weapon that they haven't had for a long time against this team.
I love that, and I think that he's going to be an amazing red zone help too, because he's, while Josh Jacobs is a very angry runner and very strong in the way that he finishes and does fine in there, I think that that's also what Kenyon Drake does very, very well. Also being a big bodied guy. And wouldn't you love to see him be like the new version of Zach Crockett or something? He's the guy that when you're inside the 5, you just turn around and give it to him and he's going to go punch it in there every time.
Who's the equal to Kenyon Drake in Gruden's old offense with the Raiders and Tampa Bay?
Well, I think that he's Zach Crockett with hands. You know what I mean? And not that, Zach wasn't known for, not that he couldn't catch, but he wasn't known for being a receiving type back. But shoot, Kenyon Drake can line up in the slot. You know what I mean? Like he's going to be all over
the running back that we had when we went to the Super Bowl. I'm blanking.
Well, we had back in that era, we had Tyrone Wheatley, we had Charlie Garner. I'm comparing Drake to Garner in Gruden's system for some reason. Very much so. Yes, because Charlie was a good pass catching back. Now Charlie didn't have the power though. Like Kenyon Drake is almost like a perfect hybrid between Charlie Garner and Zach Crockett, and like he does both of those things very, very well. Yeah, I'm with you, dude. I think he's going to catch a lot of passes. Because that's kind of something that's missing from Jacobs' game, right? We don't see Jacobs catch the ball and a lot of ability in that area. So I think, this offense is going to be legit.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, we know who we got in offense. A breakout player. This is a player, doesn't mean you're MVP. It's just a player that nobody expects or much of, even going into the season, where they just break out. Give me one on offense and defense. A breakout player.
Offensively, I'm going to go with Henry Ruggs. I think that, he is much maligned that, it often takes wide receivers 2 or 3 years to really find their home in the NFL. And unfortunately for Ruggs, last year was one of those years where rookies broke out. And CeeDee Lamb did well, and Jerry Jeudy did well, and Justin Jefferson did well. And Henry Ruggs, while he had flashes, also had to deal with some injuries and whatnot, and he did not have the breakout year last year that those other 3 guys did, and so he's immediately compared to them, and I think that's unfortunate because when we drafted Ruggs, we knew he was the project, right? That you had the guys like CeeDee Lamb who were plug and play. We knew that those guys were going to be good. They are, quote, pro ready, whatever the analysts call them, where Ruggs didn't have as much polish to his route running and whatnot, but he had this raw talent that was completely unmatched compared to the rest of the guys in the wide receiving class.
Just give me the players.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, but, you know, I love you. I'm glad to be back, but we're going to be hitting 2 hours, and it's only supposed to be an hour and a half.
I'll tell you why. Henry Ruggs going to break out. He's going to be a badass. And so I think that's going to shock people. Rookie of the year is going to be Trayvon Merrick on the defensive side. Easy.
Let's go. Breakout player for me on offense will be the little-known player by the name of Bryan Edwards. Many people, they know Henry Ruggs because he was a first-round pick. Bryan Edwards, not so much. But Raider Nation is hoping for a breakout. I believe he'll be the breakout because I already know what to expect from Henry Ruggs. So I'm going to say Bryan Edwards because I don't really know that much about him, to be honest with you. On defense, I'm going to say the breakout player will be, but Nate Hobbs. I think he's going to put it together a great season. He did it in preseason. I think he's going to come out and play very well. He's possibly going to be the nickelback. He's possibly going to make some big plays, and he's going to put himself on the roster to be a starter next year or the following year. It's going to be very interesting. So I'm calling out Nate Hobbs. Rookie of the year, Nate Hobbs. That's my Raider rookie of the year, Nate Hobbs. You got Trayvon Morrig, I'm assuming?
Yes.
All right, there it is. Sorry, Murph. I hope I didn't offend you, bro.
No, you didn't offend me, and it's okay because I've actually got a work thing coming up, so that's good. Better to move me along and not sit there and listen to me blab on and on.
Nah, but I love it. So let's just quickly go game to game, win loss, and we don't have to talk about it. Let's start with Baltimore. You gave them a win, right?
Yeah, Raiders win that one.
All right, I gave them a loss. Where's week 2 versus the Steelers at Pittsburgh? Win loss.
Loss. East Coast games suck.
I give them a win in that game. All right, Miami at home.
Win.
I give
I'll be
that
there.
one.
They better win.
We need it after last year's Miami game. I give that a W because you're going to that game, so.
Yes. I've never seen them lose.
Yeah.
Other than one time. One time I saw them lose. Monday Night Football. Yep.
At LA, at the home stadium versus the Chargers.
We win that home game.
I believe we win that game as well. Now the Khalil Mack return, week 5.
Beat their ass. Win.
All right, I'm going to go loss on that game. I'm not going to explain why. Week 6 at Denver.
W.
I am going to say we get a W at that game. Versus the Eagles, week 7.
W.
Wow, a lot of W's.
6-1 going into the bye, baby.
I give that game a W as well. At New York, are they the Giants or the Jets or I don't know.
Giants, yeah. Yeah, Giants. We lose coming out of the bye week because East Coast games suck.
I give it a W at the Giants. I can't stand them. I don't care. All right, the big game. The Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday Night Football, I believe it is, or Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, we beat them. That's our home game, right? The second one is the road game?
Week 10, that is the home game. Week 10 versus, it doesn't say at, so yes.
Yeah. We win that one.
All right, I'm going to say we lose that one. I don't know why. Week 11 versus Bengals at home.
W.
W for Murph. I'm going to give us a W as well. At Cowboys on, I think it's Thanksgiving.
Where we always lose, so that's an L.
I give that one an L as well. Unfortunately, Washington, Ryan Fitzpatrick return.
Watch this. That's going to be an L. We're going to lose some stupid game this year, and that's going to be the one. We're all going to be looking at each other going, gosh, we've been playing so well. How did Washington sneak up on us? Just like Atlanta got us. Remember? Last year, it was like, how the crap did we get the jump kicked out of us by the Falcons? There you go.
I'm going to give that one a W. Because I think we need to get revenge for that Washington game like 4 years ago that ruined everything with political stances. I'm tired of it. All right. At Kansas City.
That one we lose.
I believe we win that one, Murph. How you doing? We win in Kansas City. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. That'd be awesome.
Let's go. At Cleveland Browns.
W. We get back on track after dropping 3 in a row.
I believe we get a W in that game as well. Denver Broncos at home.
That's going to be late and cold, and it's just one of those ones where it's like...
No, that's at home.
Oh, that's the home one? Okay.
That's
never mind.
One.
Okay, we're home. Never mind. Yeah, W on that one.
So do you want to retake your stance on the on the Bronco game earlier? Because that was at the away game.
It's warm weather then. No,
I
we're
see
fine.
what you're saying.
We'll sweep them.
I believe we get a W in that game as well. Then we're at the Indianapolis Colts.
That's another one we'll lose because we shouldn't. But we have a thing with the Colts late in the season.
I agree with you on that one. We both lose that Colts game. Then the final game of the season, at home again versus the Chokers.
Yeah, we close it out with a W.
We close it out with a W. I agree. Now let's add up our records. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 9 wins, Murph.
No, should be more than that, brother. No. I got 6 losses.
I just wrote it all down. I got 1 win, 2 win, 3 win. Wait, let me.
Yeah, I've got us losing to the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Washington football team, and Indy. That's 6 losses. So that's 11-6 record.
I don't know. I got you at 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got you at 10-7 from what we just spoke about.
No, unless I misspoke on one. But those are the losses, what I just gave it. Steelers, Giants, Cowboys, Chiefs, Washington, Indianapolis.
I know. I'm just saying, I don't know whether I'm correct, but I wrote down W and L for everyone.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Well, am I missing 2? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope, I'm not. I don't know. Whatever. Like I said, this is getting weird. So for me, I got 1 win, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got us going 12.
There you go.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 and 5. Well, how'd that happen?
See? You got faith.
Well, I was 10-6 a minute ago. Well, how'd that happen?
I don't know.
I told you. Now I'm going.
I'm not trusting your tally counts over there, Mikey.
I guess. Look, we're gonna be anywhere between 10-6 and 12-5, or whatever my record, or 10-7 and 12-5. All right,
hey, Mikey, I may have to grab a call.
Yeah, go.
Are
for
we
it.
live right now? Are we live on?
We are, but yeah, do what you got to do.
Okay. This might be my son who's going to graduate boot camp in
take the call. I'll talk to the fans.
He just all right. Let me step out for just a half sec.
Yeah, no worries. So there it is, Raider Nation. I don't know what mistake I made right there, but I had them going 10 or 7 earlier, and now I got them going 12-5. So no worries, no worries. We'll move along.
Okay, I missed getting the call there. If he calls back, I'll have to grab it. But okay, sorry. We'll go ahead and move on here.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. And like I said, I've got a work thing coming up too. So.
Yeah, well, we're getting right into it. We're in the fun segment, the final few minutes. So we'll move it along. We're gonna play a game called Raider Guess the Movie. To take a phone call, no worries. Do what you got to do.
Got it.
And I'll make up for it. We're gonna play a game called Guess the Movie Quote, and these are gonna be movies that Raider players have starred in. I believe the Raider players throughout the history had the most actors in their history. So let's start at number 10. Here goes the first movie quote, and then Murph is gonna try to guess the Raider player and what movie or TV show on some occasion.
Ah, okay.
But I'll let you know before. This is a TV show.
Okay.
All right. Here's the quote. Damn, Screech, you're growing up.
Oh, Bob Golick.
Of course, and that is Bob Golick from Saved by the Bell, the college years. Good one.
Nice.
Let me put a check mark that you got this one.
Keep my scores correct this time, Mikey.
I know. I don't know what's going on. I'm in preseason mode, Murph, like we said. All right, here's the second one. This is from a movie.
Okay.
And I'll give you the genre.
Okay.
Sports.
Okay.
Here's the quote. Hey, crew, I'll see you on the field. Then he puts his head into a locker room, into a locker.
That will be Bill Romanowski in The Longest Yard.
Correct. Congratulations. It is Bill Romanowski from The Longest Yard, and there he is with his face.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You are 2 for 2.
Go.
All right. Now, this is a love story.
A love story. Okay.
Here is the quote. It appears to be the right love, just the wrong time.
This is a movie?
It's a movie, a love story. It appears to be the right love, just the wrong time.
Wrong time. It makes me feel like it's you said it's a love thing, not a sci-fi thing. Oh gosh. Oh, you might have got me on this one. I know, is Nnamdi, I know his wife is an actress. I don't know if he's ever been. I'm going to go with Nnamdi Asomugha.
Do you know the name of the movie? Are you going to throw a movie name out?
I have no clue. I've never seen him in a movie, but I know that his wife, Kerry Washington, is a very prolific actress, and he is dabbling in that world now too. So being that the quote's not familiar to me, I'm going to go with the guy that I've never actually seen in a movie.
It is a movie called Sylvie's Love that just came out on Amazon. Right. Well, you didn't get the name of the movie, but I'll give you.
But I got the player.
It was Nnamdi Asomugha.
I got the player. Yeah, let's go.
Nnamdi Asomugha took acting classes and propelled himself to become a movie star, and I really respect that. He put in the work. All right, here's the next movie. It is a comedy movie. Here's the quote. Yumma, 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 yumma. Yumma, 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 yumma. Fools think that they could kill the brother of Badula. Yumma, 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 yumma. Comedy. Yumma, 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 yumma. Wow. Raider players in a comedy. Yumma, 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 yumma. Fools think that they could kill the brother of Badula. Yumma, 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 yumma.
That's really throwing me, man. I'm going to go, since we're going comedy, and I know the first couple movies pretty well, but I don't know the subsequent 15 sequels that came after. So I'm going to go with Sergeant Alonzo Hightower, who is played by Bubba Smith.
Correct. Correct. It is Police Academy 1, and it is Bubba Smith. He's in a car with like these criminals in a little van or something like that, and then he's dressed as a character with dreadlocks, and he's holding like a dead body or something, and he's like, scaring them. He's scaring them straight, and he's like, yama, yama, yama.
Okay.
And they're all like, oh, what's going on? It was hilarious. Hilarious. Ooh, you are doing good so far. All right, this is an action movie. And here's two.
I already know what I'm going to pick.
Here's two quotes.
Okay.
The only lines from this Raider player in the action movie. You. Kill them.
Let's go with Big Ben Davidson and Conan the Barbarian.
Absolutely right. You. Kill them. Woo, you're doing good. And there it is. The autographed picture.
Ah, nice.
His character was called Rexon or Rexor or something
Rexor.
like that.
Right, yeah.
In Conan the Barbarian. They've also been in a bunch of different movies that I've had listed, but you guys can look that up for yourself. I don't want to waste any more time. All right, here's the next movie. It is a comedy. It is a comedy.
Okay.
And here's the quote. The site has to go up tonight, but they're still in there.
The site has to go up tonight?
The site has to go up tonight, but they're still in there.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with and we're not repeating the same player, right? This is a completely new person each time.
They're all different players. So now you can do that math in your head and
that's what I'm starting to do. Well, and because he was only ever in comedies, but that's quote is not from the one he's most famous for. So, but I'm just gonna go by by removing the ones I've already been named and whatnot. I'm just gonna go with John Matuzak.
Incorrect.
It
is Ernest Goes to Camp.
Oh my god!
And it starred the wonderful Lyle Alzado in a scene where they were bulldozing a house and they needed to build the site. And that was his line.
That was a good one. That was a deep cuts right there going Ernest Goes to Camp, Mikey.
Yeah, gonna get you. All right, the next movie is a action movie. And here is the quote. Son of a bitch! Shockwave took down the damn chopper!
Oh, that's Carl Weathers.
Son of a bitch! Shockwave took down the damn chopper. My acting's not so good right now. Son of a bitch! Shockwave took down the damn chopper.
Shockwave? You said an action movie?
An action movie.
Shockwave? Like a Shockwave or a character named Shockwave?
A Shockwave.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to go with Howie Long in Firestorm.
Very, 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 very close.
Oh, no.
It is Broken Arrow, starring Howie Long.
Oh, jeez. Dang it. Forgot about Broken Arrow. Okay. Damn it.
All right. I should just give you this one.
Here's Matuzak and the Goonies.
It's a comedy. And here's the quote. Ruth?
Give me
baby?
that one. Yeah, John Matuzak is as Sloth.
There it is. The Goonies. John Matuzak is Sloth. Now for the final. Oh, no, final two. The final two. We got two more. I'm sorry. We got two more.
All right, two more.
This is a horror action film. A horror action film.
Okay.
And here's the quote while holding a cigar. A grenade blew up right beside me. That's why I'm so pretty.
I'm going to go with Fred Williamson, and I'm going to say the movie is Dusk Till Dawn.
You're dang right. You got it.
That's a great movie.
Woo, you are getting it good. There it is. Dusk
There
Till
he
Dawn.
is, the hammer.
All right, we are on the final Raider player in a movie.
Okay.
It is a action drama.
Okay.
Action drama. Here's the quote. I love this quote, by the way. I think I watched the whole movie to get this quote. Who discovered America? In Italian, right? What would be better than to get it on with one of his descendants?
That is the legendary Carl Weathers playing Apollo Creed.
There it is.
Yeah,
you got
amazing.
it. You ended up 8 out of 10.
Hey, that's a playoff spot. I'll take that.
That is a fantastic spot. 8 out of 10. Congratulations on movie quotes from Raider players, brother. 8 out of 10 ain't so bad.
Thank you, Mikey. That was a fun one.
All right, now let's talk about real quickly. Mark Davis is building I believe that's the next subject. Yeah, Mark Davis mansion critique. Mark Davis somehow got $14 million to build a mansion and to buy the WNBA's. Where's all this money coming from? Big Pharma? Intermountain Healthcare?
Oh,
kind of makes you think. He was poor, remember, when he left Oakland. Now he's rich as a pig. All right, but the stadium, some compare it to looking like the Roomba. The Allegiant Stadium, they say it looks like the Roomba. But Mark Davis is building a mansion. And there it is.
Oh, let's go. Looks like a Star Destroyer.
Again, some people are making that comparison. So the question I ask is, if you had $14 million, how would you build your mansion? Like, you can say like 10 pools, 5 bedrooms, a spa, or I'd make it look like the Sears Tower. I don't know. Because apparently Mark Davis is trying to make it look like the stadium, and it also looks like a Star Destroyer from Star Wars.
That's legit, man. I'd build that. Like, I've always been a fan of like the Sydney Opera House, and like there's a lot of cool architecture in the world, but that is amazing. I love it, man. And you know what this screams of to me? This is what we call FU money, because he comes from an FU family in an FU organization, and now the man has FU money where he can just do whatever he wants and he doesn't care what your opinion is.
But so, you have to have one thing that you would put in your mansion that you've dreamed of, like something that is uniquely Murf. Like maybe a movie theater, maybe a studio for your podcasting, but something or one or two things that is uniquely Murf.
Yeah, I would build I would love to have a big studio right in the middle of the house that has the capability of like hosting events and things. So we could have like live watch parties and like that kind of stuff. Like I would want a full on, when you walk, okay, here you go. To pick something specific, whenever you watch the Dan Patrick Show, which is now on the Peacock Network, that man cave that he built up there in Connecticut, where they have like a basketball court and the big Traeger grilled things outside, and like, and of course the studio and the place to like sit down and do interviews and all that. Like that's what I would want, like a full on multimedia capable television and podcasting studio right there in the middle of my house.
Awesome. I'll just go out on a limb. I don't know how they would make it, but I want my house to look not from the front view, but from the bottom view, so all the aliens and spaceships can see the Raider shield. Then in between the Raider shield, again, I'm going to have jacuzzi, spas, basketball court. I'm definitely going to put a football field on there somewhere, because I would love the Raiders to practice for a week in the rectangle or the shield of my house. And of course, it's got to have the biggest movie theater known to man, because I'm an actor and I love movies and TV show. I'm also going to have a nightclub. I'm also going to have a gym and a bowling alley. And then this is going to sound really, really weird, but I'm going to have a girl room. I just want some pretty girls to stand around, not do anything bad. I'm not that bad. I just love looking at beautiful women. I want them to enjoy themselves, get on the phone, watch movies, dance to music, make YouTube vlogs. I just love having the company of beautiful, beautiful models, Instagram actresses, whatever you say, in that room, and know that I could have any one of them. I want that feeling, because I've been so damn lonely. I don't know how I would do it, but I'm going to do it. And that's how I would build a mansion.
Wonderful.
Bam, Murf. What a great 2-hour show. It's good to be back. Good to have us both talking.
It's so fun, dude.
Talking Raider football. I appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for inspiring me and getting me off my butt to do a show that we needed to do.
Thank you for answering the call and jumping in and doing this episode, man. It's been a lot of fun. Look forward to the next one, whenever that episode may be. And always appreciate you, Mikey. And yeah, man, let's do it again.
Yeah, so for the people that have been talking during this whole show, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. How you going to have a show called Mondays with Mikey and Murf on a Tuesday? In the words of Alanis Morissette, isn't it ironic? Don't you think? It's like Ray. I'm just kidding.
Even in the podcast world, we take off for Labor Day.
We take off for Labor Day. Murf, you got any quick little shout outs you want to give? Say anything to the nation?
Yeah, follow us anywhere you can on the socials by just at Raiders Fan Radio. You can find me directly at _Murf on Twitter. And we appreciate all the support you give to Raiders Fan Radio. And you can find us on any podcast service just by searching Raiders Fan Radio, or you can find us on the YouTubes by searching for Raiders Fan Radio. Yeah, we do a show every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern time, and appreciate you, Raider Nation. And just know this, that any of the support and love that you give us online, any of the money that we generate, any of the revenue that we get, we give 100% of that money away to the One Nation Foundation, which gives to Raiders related charities. So thank you for all the help. Thank you for all the amazing support you've given us over the years. I can't appreciate you enough. Mikey, thank you, man. Thank you for coming out, not only doing the show tonight, but it was good just to get back with my old buddy Mikey, man, and do a show and reconnect a little bit. And so I appreciate again you answering the call, and looking forward to doing more than just a couple of these this season. Let's get together and do this however, every few weeks or whatever it may be, man. But let's keep this Mondays with Mikey and Murf thing rolling.
Thank you for the faith, the patience, and the love and respect. And depending on where you're watching this, whether it be Murph's channel or my hidden YouTube channel or my Patreon or my Twitch channel, thank you guys for tuning in. And just a reminder, you can find me anywhere now on Raider Central Live. All one word. Search any outlet except Twitter. I'm at Mikey Raider. But Raider Central Live, one word, on YouTube, Twitch, you can find me there. Hopefully links will be in descriptions for both of us on some of these videos. I love you guys, and all I can say is let's go Raiders. Let's have a great Monday Night Football, brother.
See you, Raider Nation!
Let me do the little outro song like I always do if I can get it running. Yeah. We got to end it with the song. See, look, I don't know what button I'm pressing. I'm still in preseason mode there, Murf. There we go. Look at this. See, I'm in preseason mode. I can't end it. Here we go. This has been Mondays with Mikey and Murf. We talk some good Raiders nonsense and football dirt. We had a great blessed time together. All I know is that we're going to have a good year, and let's go. Thank you for tuning in to Mondays with Mikey and Murf. We'll see you soon. I love you.
Love you, Mikey. All right, Raider Nation.